All right, guys. So this is gonna be the second video that we're doing for teachers. This is mostly for drum teachers. By the way, we're at Life Modern School of Music in Miami, Florida. We do classes here: guitar, piano, voice, vocals, clarinet, saxophone, everything. All right. So we're a music school here in Miami. I'm one of the drum teachers here at the school, and I'm teaching. I have a lot of people ask me all the time, Lorenzo, how do you get kids to learn so quick and everything? So if you watch the first videos, which I recommend you do, especially if you're a teacher, if this is really what you want to do and you're passionate about teaching, not just making a paycheck, I definitely recommend you do this. So it's very rewarding. You can follow us at Flexo Students on Instagram, or follow us at Life Modern School of Music too. So yeah. So without further ado, now I'm gonna start teaching. This is normally what I teach my students that are, I already in the other videos I taught whole notes to quarter notes. Now I'm gonna teach mostly what I teach my 8-year-olds and up, ages 8 through like whatever, So normally we work with a lot of kids ages 8 through ages 11, 12, 13. So the smaller kids, this is how I teach them how to play quarter notes. This is how I teach them how to play eighth notes. And so today we're going to do the lesson with the quarter notes and the eighth notes and everything that I teach them in order for them to really grasp. So if you want to learn the whole notes, which I definitely do before you even watch this, do the whole notes, the half notes, and the quarter notes, which is in the video before this. So I definitely recommend you watch that, because then you get to see how I teach them to get to this point. And another thing that I see from a lot of other teachers, that you guys start them right away on this, on quarter notes, and you don't teach them the whole notes, the half notes, the stems, the beams. You don't teach them any of the fundamentals and stuff. And that's sometimes I have kids that come from other drum teachers, and they're like, I'm like, how long have you been playing? How long have you been with the other teacher? Oh, 2 years, 3 years. And they can't hold a groove down. They can't play a groove. They don't know. They're just sloppy everywhere, and they don't know how to read music. I don't know what some of you guys are thinking or doing, but please, this is not a joke. You can't say just because you play drums that you can call yourself a teacher. So please take it seriously, because, you remember, you're teaching kids, and if you want to teach them, you want to teach them good things. I want to teach them the right way. So please take your time to learn your craft and be passionate about it. This is what we do for a living. And, your parents are trusting you with your kids for you to teach them things. And I teach my kids from 3 to 4 different things per class, depending on the kid and the time. All right, so without further ado, this is what I do. All right, so we're at quarter notes last time. So remember, watch the video before this. So we got the quarter note, right? So before we even do the quarter note, I'm gonna do a little review, right? I kind of want to do. So we have a whole note, that's a circle. So in order to turn a whole note into a half note, we have to add a stem to it. So remember, in the first video I show you that we don't call it a stick, we call it a stem. We don't call it a circle, we call it a whole note. And then now we're gonna learn, then I draw 4 half notes, right? I draw 4 half notes, and I ask the kids, right? I have the kids here, and then I'm like, what kind of notes are those? And they're like, oh, they're quarter notes. And I'm like, are they? So I make sure that they really understand what they're seeing, because they see 4 notes, they automatically think that they're quarter notes, and they're not. So I make sure that they understand that these are not quarter notes, these are half notes. And how do they know? Because the circle is a whole note. If you add a stem to it, it turns into a half note. Now, in order to turn these into quarter notes, this is what I do with them. I teach them, you have to shade it in, right? So if you shade it in, it's no longer a half note or a whole note, it's a quarter note, right? Very simplified. So, and I make them repeat this, like I said, guys, over and over, okay? A lot of repetition, a lot of no mumbling. I don't allow mumbling in my class. You shouldn't allow it either, all right? There's some kids that are very or very shy. There's a couple rules in my class. You're not allowed to say I can't, all right? You're not allowed to say it's too hard. We're not allowed to play when the door's open, no playing when teachers are in the room, things like that, things for the classroom. If you mess up, like for example, in my class, if we're messing up, we're learning how to read quarter notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and a kid messes up, One thing that I don't let them do, and I teach them why. You have to always teach a kid why is it that you're telling them not to do something. You can't just tell them, no, don't do that. You have to tell him why he cannot do it. So he understands. So like, oh, if I do this, then eventually this is what's going to happen. So make sure you do that, okay? So, for example, if you're allowed to mess up as many times as you can in my class. I don't care. It's part of the learning process. You never learn how to ride a bike without falling, right? So the same thing here. So you're learning how to count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and kids mess up on 3, let's say, right? And then they are like, oh, I messed up, and then they go back. And oh, I messed up, and then they go back. The problem is that they're not learning number 4. So what they have to do is when they mess up on 3, they have to keep on going. It doesn't matter. Who cares? I don't care if you mess up. As long as you know where you mess up, which is very important. I tell them, I'm like, you can mess up, dude. I don't care. As long as you understand where you messed up and you get to fix it when you come back. So then eventually, even if they mess up on 3 all the time, they're learning 4. And they're learning the whole pattern. It doesn't matter where they mess up, whether they're playing a drum beat or whatever. Very important that, okay? Don't let them stop. And a lot of kids, societies, parents, whatever, we get depressed. That happened to me. Like, oh, I messed up. Oh, and then all these things that go with, that's why in my class, everything is positive. We're not allowed to say anything negative. We're not allowed to say, I can't, it's too hard. None of those things are allowed in my class. All right, I recommend you do that, and you'll see the difference in the kids. Instead of saying I can't, is how can I? Instead of saying it's too hard, it's how can we make it easier? You know, it's looking for the positive thing instead of the negative. All right. So whenever I see a kid getting down, you know, I work with that kid. I'm like, get that out of your mind. Get whatever it is that's limiting you, or whenever you get depressed, that's what gets people like, oh, I messed up. Oh, everybody's learning faster than me. That's one thing you gotta learn how to do, especially if you're a private class with a kid. You need to, the faster you get those things out of the kid, out of their system, because that's how society brought up that kid, parents, whatever, school, you know, that's the easiest and the fastest way that the kid is gonna learn. So one of the main things that I do with my students, and I tell this to all the parents when they come in the first day in that door, is like, listen, I'm gonna be studying your kid for the next 3 months, 4 months. All right, I'm gonna be studying him because everybody learns differently. All right, so took me forever to learn what I know. Okay, so I definitely recommend to study your students, know what's the fastest way that they learn. Yes, you could have a method, but don't make it my way or the highway, because not everybody learns that way. You know, there's some kids that catch on quick, some kids that don't, some kids that learn by reading, by hearing, by singing it, by reading it. Like, so you gotta figure out which way is the fastest way that they learn, and you gotta study your students. Okay. All right, so I think I'm gonna make that a video of rules and things. Why don't we keep this going a little bit, and then I'm gonna make this another video of the quarter notes and the whole notes and all that, how I do this. I think this is very important on things that teachers should definitely know. You know, those things with the kids, the psychology that goes into it. Like I said, I'm speaking from experience. I've been teaching since 2008. We're in 2019 right now, and I've been teaching at the schools for the past 7 years now. You know, so I speak from experience, and every year I learn something new. Every year, every day I'm doing. If you watch my videos, that you follow me on Instagram, you see that I post from 5 to 6, 7 videos a day, and I'm constantly, per class with my students, I'm advancing them, I'm teaching them new things, you know, making the class fun, which is very important, you know. So yes, motivation. You gotta love what you do, like I said, you know, but at the same time, you can't just be here like, oh, you know, whatever, I'm here for a paycheck, you're gonna pay me anyways. No, you gotta like literally, you know, like take it seriously. Like, dude, you know, like when I was growing up, I wanted to have good teachers that teach kind of like the way that I do, but I never had that. I had a bunch of different drum teachers, really good teachers. Some teachers just ripped me off. Some teachers didn't really teach me much, or didn't know how to explain things. Some were amazing drummers, but not very good teachers. I had them all. And I wasn't the best student either. You know, I gotta admit, I didn't do my homework, I didn't study, I didn't do a bunch of things. You know, but then again, I never had that teacher that really sat down with me and was like, what's going on, dude? Like, why aren't we doing this? You know, like the motivation aspect of it. You know, so you're definitely gonna have that when you're teaching kids. You know, it's very important that you're motivating, that you're pushing, that you're studying your student. That especially with kids, if you want to work with kids, if you want to like, there's a field out there of kids that want to learn how to play drums. Okay, and a lot of parents cannot take them to school because you know there's nobody that knows how to teach kids that are 5 year olds and up. And I'm one of the few with another great teacher here in Miami. His name is Kevin. I forgot his last name. Another Peruvian guy. I'm from Peru. He's from Peru too. I think he teaches more in Kendall, and we teach more in North Miami. Amazing drum teacher. So yeah. So yes, guys, take it seriously. Take these drum lessons seriously, especially when you're working with kids. Get kids motivated to play the drums. Get parents motivated to getting the kids to buy a drum set. You know, it's the only way that we're going to keep this art form going. In the beginning, it was really hard for me. A lot of the parents here were like, oh, drums are not an instrument. I don't want my kid learning how to play drums. They're too loud. I don't want to buy a drum set. All these excuses, right? And I turned the whole mentality around. Now, most of the kids in the school are taking drums because of the programs that I run and the different things that I do. When kids come in the summer camp, they go crazy because I teach them samba, merengue, cumbias, drum sets, fills, you know, songs. And a lot of kids also think the drums are a hard instrument because you're doing the four limb stuff, but it's actually not. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I hope this inspires you, and I hope get to inspire a lot of other teachers. And this is not just for drumming. If you're a guitar teacher, if you're you know, so what I'm teaching here, quarter notes and stuff, that's just rhythms that we're learning. So yes, thank you so much for watching. The next video, I'm just gonna go straight deep into this, not so much talking. Sorry about that.